What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. I'm in the car on my way back from the game. Can't quite believe it. Spurs have beaten Borussia Dortmund 2-0 in a crucial Champions League tie. And for all the world to see, everyone thought Tottenham were going to be battered tonight. It was going to be a loss tonight. It was going to be an embarrassing game tonight. And Spurs have actually ended up not only with a credible performance, but with all 3 points. And I have to say, fair play to Tottenham, fair play to Thomas Frank. Not only did we win, we played well, we deserved the victory. Thomas Frank did change his formation early in the game. He played a back three with Destiny Udogie as left centre-back. Danso and Romero is in a back three. Porro and Spence in a wing-back roles with Bergval, Archie Gray, Simmons, Solanke and Odegaard in a front three. And it actually worked a treat, I have to say. Thomas Frank actually had his tactics, played his tactics to perfection. There's nothing really I can complain about. And I don't want to come here and complain. We won 2-0, and we finished, well, not finished. We are currently 4th in the group for the Champions League, with obviously more games to come tomorrow, and there's one final group game to come. Currently 7 games out of 8. We are 4th in the group stage. So there's nothing really to complain about when it comes to where we are in the group and how we played tonight. I think it's a difficult game to analyse because Spurs played well. We started well. We were on the front foot. We were aggressive, very similar to how we started the Sunderland games and how we started the Bournemouth game. It was very much Tottenham coming out, flying out the traps, pressing high, suffocating the opposition, and looking to exploit any mistakes being made. And we did do that. You have to say the first goal, Cuti Romero scoring from a corner, made by Wilson Odegaard with some brilliant wing play on the right-hand side. And fair play to him, fair play to Tottenham, trying to kind of work with every weapon we have in our armoury. And right now, we do know that the set pieces is something that we can cling on to. And fair enough, we got the goal. And we did start on the front foot. I have to say, I was watching that first half and I was looking at it. I was thinking, Dortmund don't really have much threat at the moment on our side. And that was something that was consistent with how Brentford were playing, how Sunderland were playing in that first half, how Bournemouth were playing in the first 10 to 15 minutes. So if I'm Thomas Frank, I'm looking at that situation, I'm thinking, okay, it's very similar. We were pressing aggressively. We were getting high up the pitch. We were suffocating the opposition. We were denying them goal-scoring opportunities. Dortmund didn't really offer any sort of threat for the first half an hour at least. The biggest threat they did offer was probably through Adeyemi in behind. And to be honest, I think the biggest threat he did have was when we were already a man up and the goalkeeper was playing a long ball over the top, and that's kind of the biggest threat they did have. So I have to credit Thomas Frank. He did change the formation. He matched up what Borussia Dortmund were doing, which is a back three and a wing back system. And I have to say, it did work. And Tottenham were on the front foot. They were the dominant side, and they approached this game as if we were the better team. And fair play to Thomas Frank, fair play to the team. In terms of when I'm looking at the team, and was there any evidence that the team were not with Thomas Frank or they weren't really listening to what he is trying to do? There was no evidence of that tonight, because I think the team really kind of they really went with the tactics to a T. They followed Thomas Frank's tactics tonight, and Destiny Udogie did really well at left centre back. I thought I thought Jed Spence had a brilliant game at left wing back, and I thought he was a constant threat down the left hand side. In fact, the amount of times they were able to find him in advanced positions and he was kind of weaving in between a couple of players in his dribbling style, I think that was obviously a key element to our attack, and we did go 1-0 up. It was from a corner, but as I said, Odegaard, brilliant stuff on the right hand side, pulled it back. There was Cuti Romero. We go 1-0 up. Now, 1-0 up, we were dominant. If I am to objectively analyse that first half an hour, I think that's pretty much when the Dortmund player got sent off. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that first half an hour, dominant, we were on top. However, how many chances did we really create? How many goal-scoring opportunities did we really create? It was at a minimum, and I wouldn't say we were like destined to score, or it was only going to be Tottenham to score, because we didn't really create too much. However, we did score. Romero got the goal. Then Svensson gets the red card for Borussia Dortmund. That was obviously a big moment in the game. His challenge, I've seen it back. I think in hindsight, is it a bit harsh on Svensson, the Dortmund defender? I have to say, he goes for a challenge. He misses the ball. He then catches, I'm not sure which Tottenham player it is off the top of my head, but he catches one of the Tottenham players knee high and with his studs. And I think we all know, letter of the law in that situation is a red card. I do have a bit of sympathy with him. It's very similar to like what Brennan did against Copenhagen. Went for a challenge, missed the ball, and then because he missed the ball, it ended up being a high challenge with his studs. And I don't think the Dortmund defender Svensson can have too many complaints, but I understand the sympathy with him, because it's kind of a challenge that he missed the ball in. It wasn't going high initially. It was a kind of, the challenge went for the ball, he missed it, and it ended up being a knee-high challenge, but that wasn't obviously the intention before the challenge. So I do think it's a bit harsh, but when you look at the footage, you look at the stills, he can't really have too many complaints. We know that's kind of a modern-day red card. So he got sent off, and then the game completely changed. It was all about Tottenham. Could they get the second goal? Can they kill off the game? Dominic Solanke, and again, I'm going to say, credit Thomas Frank. There's been a lot of criticism for him, leaving out Matisse Tell, putting in Solanke in this game. He obviously decided to rest or drop Randall Kolo Muani in this tie, which was of amusement to me when I saw the lineup. And credit to Frank, because Solanke got the goal. Again, it was a finish which had to be a bit intuitive. He had to finish it when it was kind of behind him. It wasn't quite in his path, but he turned it towards goal, in off the post. Spurs got the second goal with Dortmund down to 10 men. At that point, you got the feeling it was game over. Now, the second half happened, and I can't say I was happy with the second half, but I was content with the second half. We parked the bus, if I'm being honest. We just kind of sat back. We knew we had the extra man. We knew that we outnumbered them defensively, and we sat back in that second half. I don't think there's any dispute with that, or I'm not really complaining about it. We had a couple of chances. Xavi forced a save out of their keeper. That was pretty much the best we forced out of them in that second half. But if we're being honest, they're down to 10 men. We're 2-0 up, and we sat back, soaked up pressure, looked to counter on them, didn't really have any ambition to go forward. And I think it's clear to see that was a performance of a team managed by a manager under pressure just to get the result, and him knowing that we were 2-0 up against 10 men, and if we sat back, it was going to be very hard for Dortmund to kind of overcome that result. That's what happened. I wasn't exactly impressed with that second half, but I would say we did win. We got the clean sheet. We moved up to 4th in the table in the Champions League. So is this a turning corner, or is this a stay of execution? I think if I'm watching the game, probably more the latter, but can't really complain about the win. Can't complain about the 3 points, and I don't want to be seen to be being negative about Frank after a really solid win against a decent Dortmund side who are currently second in the Bundesliga, and currently in the champ before today was second for goals scored, and very high in the goal scoring charts in the Bundesliga. So they're not an easy team to play against, and we got the win, and we deserved the win, and we were the better team. But it also, on the flip side, did seem a game where everything fell into place, where we scored from a corner, they got a man sent off, we killed the game with the second goal, and then we parked the bus. Is that football I want to see going forward? I have big question marks about it. However, I will say, I'm pretty certain after today's win, Frank earned another game against Burnley, and I don't think he's going to be sacked in the short term. I think the club are not sure what to do with Thomas Frank following that horrific result against West Ham. They didn't really consider the fact that they might have to sack him. we're now in a situation where he just won against Dortmund, albeit there are some extenuating circumstances given the red card in that game quite early on. So I'm not fully like, wow, turning corner. But I also have to say, credit where credit's due. Good defensive display. Good management in terms of change of formation, and the fact that he did change things up and it wasn't just the same thing we've seen before. Good in the fact that he chose Solanke over Tell, and then Solanke ended up on the score sheet and scoring the winner. Fair play to him and all of that. Has that changed much, in my opinion? I think the jury is still out. Good win, and we'll see what happens from now on in. Burnley coming up next game, and that's going to be a big game for Frank if he's still in charge, which I envisage he will be after tonight. See you soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. As always, come on, you Spurs.